Greetings, friends, and welcome to the woods. When I was a young woman and I was exploring spirituality, the New Age movement was one of the up and coming, trendy, spiritual awakening forums that you could participate in, that you could take classes, that you could learn more. There was quite a push toward Eastern religions, of which the New Age incorporated quite a lot. It pretty much pulled in all different sorts of disciplines and belief systems, and it followed kind of a mystic Christian way of looking at things. There were a number of key phrases and mindsets that got bantered about quite a bit, and one of them was the idea of perfect love and perfect trust. When you came together, it was in perfect love and perfect trust. The idea that you should be open to those who you were meditating with, or those that you had gathered together with, that you were going to present a high vibe to the world, and you were going to create this beautiful space between each other, and that you were going to lift up the energy of the group and thus of your locale and eventually of the world, which is a wonderful idea. However, spaces like that would invite in people who were looking for healing, and so when the energy was raised, they would just pull it all in deliberately or subconsciously because they needed the energy. It's going to pull it all in, which interfered with the synergy of the group. So you'd have energy going around a circle, and then it would land on that one person who needed it or just wanted it, and they would just sponge it all up and then walk away. So they would be radiating energy, and everybody else would be exhausted. And after a few of those kind of meetings, wouldn't come back. You'd have your die-hard people who just came to it for the social convention, the meeting people, the making friends with people who would attend. But then you had the people who were spiritual, who could see or sense where energy was going. And it was kind of pointless. How many times do you have to experience something where you're not changing the dynamics of the situation before you decide that this is not working, and you go find something else to do? Perfect love and perfect trust is a wonderful ideal. However, guarding yourself, guarding your space first, so that the energy goes for the intention that you have earmarked it for, and not just general harvesting, that would have been the better way to go. However, I have strong suspicions, which have been recently validated, that the movement of the New Age, like many movements, was infiltrated and shaped by those who wanted to control the spirituality of the people and make sure that they didn't get out of the box, the little pen that they were in, that they didn't challenge the powers that be in the way that has recently happened and is moving forward, that we weren't empowered enough to become true sovereigns and cast off the illusions that were around us, that for some are still around us. Perfect love and perfect trust. We need to think about that carefully. It's fine if you know who you're working with and if you trust them. But trust is earned. And gathering into a group of strangers, relative strangers, acquaintances even, you're running a risk. It's best to be careful. The other thing that I've seen quite a bit of within that particular mindset is the death of the ego. Everybody wanted to destroy the ego. I was told, I did not verify that because the Asian teachings and mysteries are not what I'm specialized in. I come from the Western world, and so my discipline and my focus is more about the mysticism and the magic and the spiritual practices that come out of that. But the predominant zeitgeist of the time period of the beginning of the New Age movement, they were taking from some of the teachings of the East that you need to destroy your ego. You need to get beyond desire, beyond this world. You need to pursue nirvana, where all of the characteristics of who you are as a human it just goes away, and you become part of the great universal light. And part of that is destroying the ego. Now, in Western tradition, it's not about overworking your character until it turns into a null zone, which is what that feels like to me. That whole destroy, just have no desires, have no needs, just get beyond having a personality, a character. Because really, if you're destroying your ego, the way they mean it, not the way Freud means it, but the way they mean it, you are destroying your personality. You are destroying, okay, this is the way that Freud meant it. Ego it's the mind. It's your person. It's who you are as a person. It's how you interface with this world. If you destroy that, you lose your capacity to have organized thought. You know, you go crazy. Because what many psychologists and others really, how they label someone who is crazy, somebody who can't operate within social norms. They can't operate within this world in a safe and reasonable way. They don't have any boundaries. They don't have linear time that they understand. Their memories, their thought processes jump from one thing to the other. They can't organize their life. They can't organize their thoughts. They can't restrain their behavior. They can't put things into context. And that's what happens when you destroy the ego. And all too many people had that as a goal, like it was a good thing. I'm going to sit here and meditate until my ego's gone. Well, then you're going to sit there and meditate until you're a crazy person or until you're a dead person, because if you want to operate here, you need that ego. Now, you want the ego to serve in balance with the primal, which is the id, and with the soul, with the source, which is the higher self, which is where you get your intuition. You want all of these three things, the body, the mind, and the soul, functioning harmoniously together, working together, and then you have mastered life. You have mastered your situation. That's our goal. Not destruction, not ruination, but bring it in. Put it in its place. It doesn't have to, the ego doesn't have to do everything. The mind doesn't have to do everything. It doesn't have to take care of everything. It has a loving partner in the intuition. It has a loving partner in the primal of the body. But if one of these tries to overtake everything, if it's the id, if it tries to overtake everything, you have somebody who can't control their appetites and has no willpower. And that's a fall. Their mind doesn't function very well. It's all about what their urges, where their urges pull them. If you have somebody the mind is overbalanced, then everything has to be rationalized. They're trying to control everything. They're trying to put everything in perspective as to what their mind, how it wants to relate to everything. It limits, and it can over-restrain the body and silence the spirit. And if you overbalance on the level of spirit, and spirit takes over, you're going to lose your body. You're going to lose your mind. And you're just going to go. So you need to align all three working together. So I had a problem with the kill the ego, destroy the ego, keep it in check, beat it down. Too many people equate the ego with arrogance. We have to be able to function here with confidence and flow. Work with it. Work with your shadow. Balance your shadow with your light. And welcome to the woods.